Let's take a trip in a trailer. No need to come back at all. Let's take the powder to Boston for chowder. Let's get away from it all.
Hello there, it's Doug, also known as Papa Doug.
And Sally, Grandma Sally.
Grandma Sally. And we're out here walking in the beautiful Huntsville State Park near Conroe, well, in Huntsville, Texas, near Conroe, Texas, which is where we're camping right now. And we've had so many people, family, friends, when we sit down and just chat, ask us about our new non-traditional lifestyle on the road. Even strangers. We've been at church, for example, and meet new people.
Last week.
And they ask us, what do you do? And we say, well, we're full-time travelers. We're full-time RVers right now. And that fascinates so many people. In fact, it was here at Conroe last fall that we told a couple that, and they were so interested. They said, well, we're thinking of doing the same thing.
Come to dinner and tell us how you do it.
Come to dinner. And we went to dinner and we just sat down and talked about what it's like to be on the road full-time. And so we thought if they're interested in that, maybe we could explain a little bit more to our family, kids, grandkids, so on, and any friends who are interested in what it's like, how this works for us, because it is non-traditional. It is unusual what we're doing.
And it works differently for different people.
Right. Now, you're going to have to forgive us for a second as we make our way through some mud here on the trail. So what we wanted to do, as we thought about it, how does this work for us? How does living the nomadic lifestyle work? We thought about it, and I broke it down into 3 areas, 3 basic categories, 3 ways of thinking about it. And so we'll have 3 separate videos explaining all of that. And the first one is the big picture, the meta picture. That is, how is this even possible for us as a couple to live like this? And so that's all the issue of compatibility. And this isn't an instructional video. This isn't how you can live like we do. It's just explaining how we live. Because today's topic, I think, is not really teachable.
It's not snowing.
No, there are beautiful little blossoms, I think, falling from the tree here. So this isn't teaching you how to do what we do. This is just explaining that we make this work for certain reasons.
For us.
And today it's mostly about personality and outlook, which, you know, might not be able to be taught. So how does this work for us? First of all, I'm reminded of a story about a woman who was talking to her friend, and she was complaining, she was griping. She was saying that ever since her husband retired, he's been driving her crazy, that he's always underfoot. She cannot get rid of him. And so her friend says, now remember, in your marriage vows, it said for richer or for poorer, for better or for worse. And the woman said, yeah, but it didn't say for lunch. And so, Sally, you want to sit down for a second?
Yeah.
We found a beautiful park bench on the trail here.
You have to turn around so they can see the lake.
Yeah, see
it's
where we
gorgeous.
are. We're on Lake Raven here near Huntsville at the park.
And it gets its name from Sam Houston, who was named by the Indians, the Cherokees, the Raven. And so that's why this lake is named Sam Houston National Park. Is just on the, it's just over there.
Right on the other side of this park. Well, let's sit down and continue our conversation a little bit here. What was I saying? Oh, yes. Yeah, we're here for better or for worse, but not for lunch. You know, a lot of people, when they retire and they're thrown together for the first time, they may have had a good relationship throughout their married lives, but when they're thrown together
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day, and they're not used to that, sometimes that does cause some stress, some problems, don't know how to do that, how to get along. Well, we don't really have that problem.
We're lucky.
Because we have what many people would consider an unhealthy relationship. By that I mean that we are and have been, for all of our married lives, best friends.
Yeah.
We enjoy being together, we like being together. When in our work lives, we have
Almost always
most of the time
worked at
we
the
have
same
been
place.
co-workers. We drive to work together, we work together, we drive home
Have
together.
lunch together.
Have lunch together, we've just worked together. And when we haven't worked together in the same place, we still get involved in one another's work. Right, library people?
When I was in the community services department, I'm afraid I would draft Doug to help me with all of the events. He's just so good. At
So I worked
many
at the
different
library even though I didn't work at the library.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've worked together our entire lives, it seems, and we just have that kind of a personality where we enjoy one another's company more than anything else.
And we value each other's strengths and are able to put up with each other's weaknesses. So,
Yes. So a lot of
endearments, not weaknesses.
And so, you know, a lot of guys spend a lot of time going out with the buddies, and a lot of ladies spend out time with the gals, and they do the card parties or the bowling or whatever it is. But all of our lives, we have never developed those outside relationships very much. That's the unhealthy part that a lot of people would say.
Probably.
But we would much rather be together than with anybody else.
Or with coworkers.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we have friends, we have acquaintances, but given our druthers, we want to be home alone, you know. And so
Or doing things alone.
doing things alone,
each other.
right? Like going for a walk in the state park,
Or playing pickleball.
playing pickleball. So that's one thing that makes this possible for us, is that we haven't found that stress of
No.
living together all the time that some people would. We enjoy just getting in the car and going, or just sitting in the trailer and playing Scrabble or whatever it is, or going for a walk in the
Reading.
forest, in the park, going shopping. I mean, we do everything together. Sally said, "I'm going to take the trash out. Are you coming with me?"
Well,
Sure.
any excuse for a little walk.
So,
Get up,
so
get
that's
out.
that's part of what makes this whole thing work for us, is simply
Yeah.
the compatibility issue, that we don't have the stress and the strife of day-to-day life that some would when they're thrown together in this circumstance. So that's point one. I better hold my camera straighter, or people get seasick here. Point one is we're just compatible. Point two has to do with personality. Both of us tend to be pretty adventurous. We aren't the stay-at-home, stick-in-the-mud, afraid-of-change kind of people. We really enjoy and appreciate change.
We've lived lots of different places.
I figured it out not too
Okay.
long ago as I was taking one of my walks. We've been married 42 years, almost 43 now. And in that time, we have lived in 15 different cities. Not because we're shiftless and restless, but because education or jobs have called us away to someplace else.
An opportunity.
In fact, that's why in our last video, Sally sang Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves, and our youngest son, Matthew, posted on Facebook that he still tells people that he was born in the wagon of a traveling show.
He does.
Because we moved around so much. But for us, it was always moving to the next job or moving to a nicer place. You know, we were always moving on up, and that kind of a thing.
No, I won't do that. I won't get in trouble again.
So we like change. We like to move around. We like to go see new things and new places and new people. And in fact, when we were very first married, we were both going to school at Indiana State University, 1975, and we just thought, what do we do when we're through, when we graduate, when we're out of here? And our dream at that time was to sell everything we own,
We didn't own much.
buy a canoe.
That would take the entire net value.
Our idea was to sell everything we own, buy a canoe, and put it in the river there at the Wabash River in Terre Haute, and float down to the Ohio River. On the Ohio River, float down to the Mississippi River. On the Mississippi River, float down to New Orleans. And then what?
And then what? we would have no money.
We decided that we
wouldn't
would
need the canoe anymore.
We would be down the creek with only a paddle. And so we decided that wasn't practical. So instead we did something much more practical. We sold everything we own and bought a motorcycle.
A little motorcycle.
Neither one of us had ever ridden a motorcycle before in our lives, but we learned. And we got on the motorcycle and we took off. We rode down to Atlanta, and then down to New Orleans, and then across Texas, and ended up in the Phoenix area where my grandmother lived. And that's where we settled. We didn't know anybody except Grandma, but we settled there and got jobs and started our family there. And all that's just to say that we have always been kind of wanderers, ready to move, ready to go see something new, ready to have fun. And so that's why this lifestyle is easier for us than it would be for other people. You know, people who have lived in the same place all their lives and had the same friends all their lives.
This would not seem like a nice thing to them.
This would be very hard.
Where us,
I
it's
think,
a dream.
Yeah, for some people, but for us, it's wonderful.
About 3 years before we retired, we were contemplating this, but we had never been campers. We really weren't camper. My idea of camping, I always told Doug,
Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn.
Yeah,
that's my idea of camping.
Roughing it for Sally.
So we thought, well, travel trailers were coming more into vogue, and we thought, well, let's see. I was going to go up to be with the kids. Ben was going on a mission trip to India, and he was going to be gone like 6 weeks. And so we needed a way for me to stay up there without Ben's cat. Their family had a cat.
Couldn't stay in Ben's house.
I have asthma. And so we bought a small travel trailer and took it up there, and I lived in it
all summer.
All summer. And it was great.
And we did weekend camping and so on in that.
Until Doug came up, and then it was too small.
So we got a larger trailer, and that was a little too small and badly arranged, so we got a larger trailer, and that's the one we have now, and that's the perfect one.
And we love it.
So that's I guess part two. Part one is compatible. We just enjoy being together all the time, and so that's good. And part two is adventurous. We enjoy going out and exploring and finding places and getting lost and having adventures.
If new things freak you out, this is not a lifestyle for you.
And then the third point that I had was compatibility, being adventurous, and being positive. That, you know, we enjoy all this, but there are times when it's stressful. There are things.
When the semi came on our side of the road
ran us off the road. Yeah, that was stressful.
That was a stressful moment.
Sally sobbing in the front seat of the truck.
I cried. I thought we'd died. But it didn't last very long. That's the positive thing. And Doug would make a joke, we're alive, we're okay, and in just a few minutes I'm going, we're alive, we're okay.
Getting lost,
I'm so glad we're alive.
Or coming across a detour and going off of
that was kind of stressful.
Our planned route and ending up on top of a mountain in the Appalachians.
We had to go over 2 mountains on the Appalachians on a one-lane road.
That
with
was
the trailer.
Stressful.
Yeah.
And so it helps to have the right kind of personality that can deal with that
We
stress.
kept listening to jokes on the
Sirius XM.
Thank heavens for
radio,
the comedy channel.
Yeah.
We would laugh and we would laugh and it was all right.
So part of it is just being positive. We run across a lot of people who like to complain.
We do.
We pull into a park and we'll hear people gripe about the quality of the sites, or the quality of the bathrooms, or the quality of the swimming pool isn't clean, or something like that. And we just wonder how they live like this if they're always unhappy wherever they go. And we see those things. I mean,
sometimes you do see them not a tip-top, but we always find wonderful things in every park.
For example, one person was complaining bitterly that we were in a park last summer at the height of the summer, and the pool was out of order. It wasn't just out of order, it was full
dead.
of green
Yeah.
slime.
A crack had happened, and they had somebody coming, but they had just let the rainwater sit.
Right.
It was awful.
It was just a huge science experiment full of algae. And one person was just complaining bitterly
they were
over this.
angry.
And we had the grandchildren with us that week, and they were so looking forward to swimming, and it could have made our week just miserable. But instead, we got online, and we looked
Technology is our friend.
We looked up local city pools,
Swimming
and there was
pools.
one, and we took the kids to the pool.
Beautiful pool.
And they had a great time.
And they had so many kids there that our grandkids, instead of being with the old folks at the park where we were, there were 100 kids in this pool, and they had a great time. It was actually better than what the pool in the park could have afforded us.
That's right. So we had a bad situation, but we looked for a way to make it better. And you know, when life hands you lemons,
I like lemons.
or when life throws you a curveball, try to hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we do. We've been places where people complain about the weather. Well, there's nothing we can do about that.
No.
So we have our DVD collection if we have to sit inside all day.
And
That's
all of the
okay.
Thousand Trails Park have family centers where we can go with, like, on rainy days with the grandkids. We can go play ping pong or pool or,
Right.
you know, one of the activities they have for rainy day occurrences.
Right. So I guess that's our third point there. It's just I don't know if you're a naturally negative person, I don't think you're going to change your personality, but
Or not just negative, but if they have a very rigid expectation of things.
Inflexible.
This might really drive you crazy.
That's right.
It
Since
might.
being on the road here, we have to be flexible. Plans change. We've been places.
I'm the planner. I like to know where we're going and how we're going to get there, and where we can stop. I really like that. But we have found wonderful things in technology, apps in technology, that when one rest stop is closed, Arkansas always closes all of their rest stops.
We were on a trip from Indiana to Texas, and we really needed to find a rest stop. And that's when we found out that for some reason, every rest stop in Arkansas
was redoing
was
all of
closed
their
for
rest
maintenance.
stops at the same time.
Yeah.
They just decided it's cheaper if we close them all. And so but then
we had to be
found a
flexible,
truck
and
stop
we found a truck stop, and we did it.
Yeah.
So that's it. Things will change. Things will get hard. And so just having a positive outlook and smiling and laughing and
the
being
comedy
flexible.
channel, you got to get it.
There are many comedy channels on SiriusXM
I
that
mean,
we
a
don't
family
listen
one.
to. Yeah,
A
there's
family
the,
one.
Yeah, clean
Even
comedy.
it sometimes.
It's a little
A
risque.
little bit.
So I guess that's, you know, this is our first of our series of 3 videos on how we make the nomadic lifestyle work for us. And the big picture, just having the right compatibility, the right sense of adventure, and just being flexible and positive in what we do makes this really work for us. We've been doing it for 1 year and 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And we don't have any regrets yet. We've enjoyed the whole
Even
thing.
the hard times.
Even the
hard times are just make you think and work out a problem and come up with a solution, and then you are going to be shocked how proud you are of yourself that you figured it out. You figured it out.
Well,
Thanks for coming to the park with us.
Yeah, this is Grandpa Doug and
Grandma Sally.
And we'll see you the next time.
Bye.
Let's get away from it all.